I don't know if you're like me, but once or twice somewhere in my growing up, I didn't have homework and I told my teacher, well, the dog ate my homework. Anybody do that? That's the great excuse. Well, I have a corollary to that this morning. Many of you know that I often get up early on Sunday morning and fine tune what I want to say. And I was doing that this morning, and at about 6:30, I had it all fine tuned and I was ready to print it out, look the other way, and the cat walked across my computer. And somehow I couldn't reclaim that document. All I had was a blank page. Well, I thought, well, can I recreate this? And then I got quiet and I found out I'm not supposed to recreate this. So no notes this morning. You're getting it as it comes to and through me. And of course, today we are thankful for what we foresee, thankful for what I foresee. Anybody ever make a home movie? I see a hand, and I'll bet there's a couple of others. Well, movie making is a process for sure, and there are a lot of things that go into it. And let me just run. If you're a real movie maker, first of all, you have to have a concept of what you want to make your movie about. Then you have to get down to a script. You're going to write the dialogue that people are going to say in your movie. And then you're going to kind of amplify that script by adding other elements of the screenplay, how the characters are feeling, the actions that they take that aren't in the script, the words of the script, the dialogue. So all of this moves on to where, when you're really making a movie, you might create a storyboard. Those key scenes, you're going to actually take a board and sketch out what's happening so that the director and those other people involved can look at that and know how the mind of the movie maker has projected that it should be. Of course, before it all gets done, you have to say, is the sound just right? Do I have all the sounds that I want in there? Is the music appropriate? Is the feeling there that I really want to convey? And then, in the end, you have a movie. Well, the movie that's made by the movie maker is all seen before any of this happens. Maybe only the idea is there, and the movie maker begins to see something that isn't visible yet. It won't be visible until it's actually been filmed. That's kind of like how it works for us. We can foresee that movie in our life and all of the elements of it, how I feel about it, exactly the script, the action that I'm to take. We can be grateful in advance for what we foresee, not just what we see with physical eyes, but what we foresee. And I'd like to talk about that this morning. 3 things come to me when I think about foreseeing. Number 1, and this you'll know is my thing, all things work together for good in this movie. It's a happy ending. Well, maybe there is no ending. All things work together for good. It's also going to be something that gets my involvement. I have to be involved in this movie. I have to live it, if you will. And so I see that. But first of all, I need to get in connection with my heart's desire. What I would have show up in my life, I've got to get connected with that heart desire that goes with it. And that's sometimes a little bit difficult. We have wants, and that's not what I'm talking about. We even have needs, and that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about that heart desire, something that comes from within, from our consciousness, and that's what we're reproducing as co-creators with the divine. So about that heart's desire, how do I find that? We're going to get to the how do I do that at the very end. But just a couple of cues about heart's desire. Not found by rational thinking. Not found by rational thinking. Is found by going within to the very nature of who we are, to the unique individual that we are, the created being that we are. That's where we look for heart's desire. And sometimes it's like a nudge from the universe that says, look here, look there. And you've had that. I'm sure all of you have had it. That points you kind of just knew something was for you. You had to develop this. You had to give attention to this. And so that turned into a heart's desire that if you stay with it, will turn into reality, will turn into your very life. Once we have a sense of what our heart's desire is, and by the way, Emily Cady talks about this. If anybody's read Lessons in Truth or has that book or can go to truthunity.net and get that book because it's right online there, go to chapter 5 and chapter 6, Faith and Affirmations. And Emily Cady will tell you that if you have that heart's desire, that's something that is set to be accomplished in your life. It's set to appear in your life. The very fact that you can have that desire means that there's the way to fulfill that desire. After heart's desire, I get to the point where I say, next stop, hold on, I'm recalling it. Next stop is envisioning. Sometimes, we were having a little conversation earlier, sometimes a word just won't come to you, but I got this one fairly quickly. Envisioning. So, probably some of you have made a vision board. You put pictures from a magazine. Do magazines still exist? I'm not sure. But you put pictures or representations of what you want to bring in your life. You envision that. Sometimes, well, you know, here at Unity on the first Sunday, next Sunday we'll do it, we have our vision statement. That which is true about that which we see in advance, foresee. Well, visioning is a process, and it continues, and it takes shape as we go. It's like that movie, the takes that we look at the end of the day when we're shooting the film. They're very incomplete, but they're part of the growth and the creation of that movie. And the same is true with us. We see little things, and we envision those, and then the vision grows bigger and greater. There's a wonderful book, and we'll get to this when we get to How Do I Do That by Michael Beckwith on visioning. The idea that we don't just take what comes, but we become an active part of that. We're visioning. We're making our own mental movie. So if you're envisioning something, why not take time to just be quiet and say, how is it that I see it? Then take your hands off because it's likely to evolve a little bit. And don't get too attached to exactly how that movie is. But look at the greater, bigger picture. That's why I love to say always, this or something better. When I sense a heart's desire and I have a picture of it, I've envisioned it, I always want to remember that it's this or something better, because the something better often is what appears. I have one thing that I've been envisioning for quite some time, I don't know when it'll arrive, and I don't know exactly how it will arrive. But I have a heart's desire to have a round house. I don't know where that came from, but it has stayed with me. I've been nudged about a round house. And I do not know when that will come. And I do not know how it will come. But I often, as I'm going to sleep or waking in the morning, will sit and imagine what that round house is like. That power of imagination that we have is great for the visioning process. And when we envision it, we're making steps toward the reality that will be there. Then there's one more part of this that I think is important when we're foreseeing something, and that is to declare it. So often we have an idea or we have something we desire, but we're pretty timid about it, and we don't declare it. But you know, at Unity, we're always talking about affirmations. When we keep those affirmations in mind, we know that they're leading us in the direction. They're attracting to that which we desire. So speak it out loud. Myrtle Fillmore talked about how she talked to her body. I don't think she just meant in her mind. I would guess that she did it out loud. And I've kind of taken to that. There's something about my body that I would rather see different. I'd rather see it work a little better. And so I talk out loud to my body. I don't know if anybody else hears me and thinks I'm loony, but I talk to my body. But it is an affirmation of that which I have a desire for. So make the most of those affirmations. Write them out yourself. Post them. I know, Betty, you put them on notes on your door, but say them out loud when you go by. John Lennon said something like this. He said, if I was drowning, I wouldn't say, well, it looks like I'm having a hard time swimming here. Can somebody maybe give me a little hand? He said, no, I'd scream it out. So boldly declare what it is that you desire. I think for me, the inability to be bold about it has sometimes kept this good from coming to me. So here we have the three things. First of all, we're, what was the first one? Heart's desire. We're focusing in on our heart's desire. Thank you, Betty. And then we're envisioning it. And then we're declaring it. Tom, I want you to put up a slide. And Claudette, if you can pass out to people that are here this handout, I'd like to share how I think this will work. How do I do that? How can I be grateful for that which I foresee? And I put 4 things there. Yeah, you can do it twice, Terry. Listen for the tapping of the universe. I talked about that. The universe, or God, if that works better for you, but I'm using universe here because that just has a fullness to it that I like, but it's the same thing. It's all that is. It's the divine that's within me. Listen for the tapping in the universe. It doesn't come from your head, but from your soul. Spend time in quiet. If I could wish anything for you, I would wish that you would be able to find that quiet space, that time to be able to listen. Then the heart's desire becomes clear because the universe taps. Tap, tap. Number 1, how you do that? Listen for the tapping of the universe. 2, and I encourage you to do this, make the movie of your desires fulfilled and watch it at least once a day. So you're making a mental movie, and do that get all the feelings that go with it, see that movie and watch it at least once a day. You'll be surprised. In the perfect time, you're going to start to see that movie fleshed out. We're going to see it become real and not just something in your imagination. Third, be grateful out loud that you have the desires of your heart. Can you be bold? Be grateful out loud. I don't necessarily mean for the benefit of anybody else, but for the benefit of yourself. Be bold. Be grateful for your heart's desire, that which you foresee, see beforehand. And then finally, and I'm going to invite you for this one. There's as I spoke, the visioning process, Michael Beckwith's book is Life Visioning, a transformative process for activating your unique gifts and highest potential. So maybe you're a little hung up still on knowing what that heart's desire is. I invite you to come to me, to email me, to text me and say, I'll go through that with you. I'll get the book. We'll do the book study. We'll discuss it. We'll work on that visioning process for our lives. So it's now in your court. Contact me. Say, yeah, I want to be a part of that. We'll figure out the time. We'll tell you where to get. Oh, you can go to Amazon and get the book. It's easy to get, and it's not really expensive. But this is one very concrete way that you can make a step forward to being able to be grateful for that which you foresee in your life. Remember the movie making that we talked about at the beginning? That movie will have steps. It'll have various elements that you'll have to work through. And you may not see the element until you get to a certain point. But that element will be there. And when you have that movie in its fullness, you're going to begin to see that in your life. So we are grateful for what we see in advance. Don and I, and I've mentioned this, sorry, I'm getting texted. Didn't turn my phone off. Don and I have a gratitude practice every night before we go to bed. I think we got it about 4 years running now, 4 or 5 years running. And one of the things we're grateful for is what we see in advance. Last night I said, I am grateful in advance of just the words that need to be said will come out of me this morning. Something to share with you. Was grateful in advance. And I'm trusting that that's so. So be grateful in advance. Grateful for what you foresee. It'll change you. It'll really define your unique spiritual path. This is the truth, and so it is.